Just had a sequence of Looney Tune ass events happen right as I hit oh, there we go. Just had a sequence of Looney Tune ass events happen right as soon as I hit start streaming. First off, I felt like a little like sick, and I was like, damn, let me just like go real quick and I'll come back. And I figured it only took a couple minutes. But then just as I went, my cat sauntered by me and went right into my room. And she's at the door now. I'm gonna let her out. But I'll explain things about her soon. Yeah. So my cat, she's a bit of a force of destruction, you see. Like I took a picture of her like this morning of her just like sleeping on my desk. Like she doesn't care about anything. She doesn't care about personal space or where she should and shouldn't be. And to be fair, I didn't stop her. So like, yeah, she would sit there. But here's the funny part that like when I left for a second, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go and I'll be right back. And it'll be like a few minutes and I could start. And you know what happened? She sauntered past me into my room, and as a chronic desk hopper who really likes going to my desk, that was kind of a bad thing because I have two things on my desk that I do not want her to mess with: my laptop and my mic, precariously put next to each other. Yeah, so I immediately stopped what I was doing and just went back in and then chased her away, and I was like, fuck. Alright, let's just start. I feel a bit better, at least. A little out of breath for some weird reason. Like, okay, I feel better. But yeah, she's a little freak. A little bit of a freak cat. Oh well, what can you do? Anyways, we're back for Web Serial Wednesday, which is the name I came up with while driving home today. Where we're gonna read a little bit of whatever web serial we have going on at the moment. Right now, we're about halfway through Link Rot. If you don't know, the premise of the story is it takes place in a research center, and our protagonist, I'm assuming our protagonist, named Fodder, because like literal fodder for the horrific monster they're keeping inside the station, was supposed to die by the hand of this terrible being, but didn't. Was the only survivor actually among the many other lives they sent to sacrifice. And not understanding why, I don't know the pronouns off the top of my head. I need to double check later. But I'm gonna go with they for now. Okay. Or is it she? I think it's she. Regardless, she/they, went, like, was forced to go again in order to find out, like, kind of why they were spared. All the while we get a look into Fodder's, like, brain and learn about, like, her kind of, like, suicidal tendencies and self-destructive behavior that led to her getting, like, fucking, like, basically becoming a criminal, because only criminals get used as like fodder, I think. Man. So yeah, self-destructive cycle leads to weird station stuff, and apparently in the summary, like the monster in the station merges with the AI meant to keep it contained, and we've gotten some hints of that. Definitely. So we'll just see. It's really cool. It takes advantage of, like, changing the site to, like, change the atmosphere. It has music involved. You see that big play button? It had a video at one point, and it had, like, little, like, kind of, like, script-style narration points with, like, little citations, more information. It's really cool, genuinely. Like, glad to see people hop in, but I do recommend reading this on your own, too, because, like, it's really good. It's really good. I genuinely really like the atmosphere and the characters so far. I'm excited to read more of it. And if we catch up, then next week I'll find another web serial for us to read. How about that? Someone's got to be there to rep the community, and I will do it because I love reading. But yeah, let's hop right into it. Right now we're at movement 4. Let me like take a look at how far. Yeah, because we're here. So we're about halfway through, you see? So hopefully we'll catch up and we'll be able to gush over updates together. We could do like a little like occasional readings to keep up. But yeah, for now, let's just hit the play button and get to reading. Get yourselves comfortable, get some food, some water, because it's gonna mainly be me reading. But yeah, get comfortable, you know, we're gonna have fun and enjoy words. This is reading stream after all. We read. Alright, play. 1 year, 1 month. But at the time, you don't even realize how badly you're fucking up. Quote from 000. In the following weeks, your life becomes like viewing the world wholly submerged in water, and you are unlucky enough to only resurface during the most uncomfortable of moments. Your workday begins in front of the same bulkhead door, escorted by the same pair of blood bags, wearing the same second skin of a suit. Your body aches, unconditioned to working such long and involved days, still not having reached the point where it feels normal. Your only relief comes in the form of a half-hour break between two 5-hour blocks of work, of which you use to force down food and to contemplate shooting yourself. Wishful thinking, as if you get close enough to a weapon without being restrained again. As per demand, you enter alone. Utah waves you off and greets you with a holler. His companion offers a nod no matter which way you go. Existing around the pair has become tolerable. You still flinch at any sudden movements. Still cringe when Utah raises his voice. Still wish they would stop speaking to you as if you were a colleague rather than cattle they are tasked to lead. But repetition dulls you to the dissonance. One day, you might be blind enough to finally believe they are people. An absurd thought, worthy of ridicule if you hadn't already caught yourself falling prey to its sick sort of endearment. Ultimately, you are still human. You are still a slave to the deep desire to be cared for, to be wanted. The fact that this is an obligation for the blood bags does not matter. They are near, and they are kind enough to trick your mind into forgetting. Besides, your other option is a thing which admits you are nothing more than a tool. For once in your worthless life, have some self-respect. Observer 2. IS/OT. Eyes does not soften with you, nor does its physical traits become any more comprehensible. You expect a terrain shift, but its heart takes it to a level you cannot fathom experiencing until you finally stand within its walls, day after day. You ground yourself with its constants. The floors are always tile, the walls are always white, the ceiling is always paneled. Except when they are not, but that happens infrequently enough that your mind blots out these instances, intent on preserving itself. What you cannot ignore is its perpetually in flux layout. It is an affront to architecture that you must now exist within, and one you have not found easier to bear even as the weeks tick by. Some days, the room is mundanely contained in a space more akin to an oversized closet. Others, it stretches for what must be thousands of feet, holding shelves of stacked machinery in uniform repeating beyond your line of sight. Some days, you are sent searching through a maze of metal and plastic dividers, and some days, you are expected to crawl through what you can only assume are repurposed vent tunnels. You've always found this to be the most humiliating form it can take, forcing you on your hands and knees like vermin, waiting among dirt and untouched cobwebs, listening to its dull, distant, metal groaning, surrounded by a warmth you dare not imagine the source of. On terrible occasions, the first thing you notice upon entering is the ceiling stretching higher than you can see. Is there anything hidden here? I'm gonna check. No. Losing itself completely to shade. From the black creeps down thick ropes of cable and wires in an uneven tangle. Some have enough sense to affix themselves to the wall. Most hang like living vines on a tree, succumbing to a slow strangulation. When the room takes its shape, the only light you are afforded is sourced from the terminal. You are left You are left scrabbling about, 3/4 stripped of your main sense until you meet enough of its demands to earn the privilege of sight. Those days, you think it must truly despise you. The work itself is tolerable, in comparison to your previous position, anyways, which is a bit like saying a broken arm isn't as bad as a broken leg. While your prior obligations saw you floundering through unclear instructions and overwhelmed by the similarly unprepared drones around you, ISOT is both wonderfully disembodied and intimately familiar with every aspect of your assigned tasks. You're laying surgery from the body beneath the knife, but the body is wholly lucid, invented a technique, and is unshackled from concepts such as pain and discomfort. Every action you take within itself is quickly picked apart to say that your next attempt is better. A blessing and a curse. You learn faster than you thought yourself capable of, but even your best performance elicits only hollow praise. What little satisfaction you garner is snuffed by a growing pile of expectation. Squandering your duties is not an option either. You tried that. Of course you did, you depressed bastard. But accomplished nothing save for furthering your suffering. A legitimate goal in the correct context, a fruitless endeavor elsewhere. You sit squarely in elsewhere. The third or fourth day you were brought below. Is any changes? You steeled yourself and set your mind to do the absolute least amount of work possible. You walked in with a shocking amount of confidence and left with an aching headache interlaced with a foul mood. Once it became clear you would not work, ISOT took to auditory conditioning as a form of motivation. The memory of its harsh noise and just audible enough to sting frequencies left you unwilling to try again. The conditioning worked. Sorry. Once you're allowed to bring a janitorial cart, ISOT no longer bothers cleaning up after itself. Your warm-up for the week is to play maid for what's left of the poor unfortunate sent 12 hours earlier. You wonder if it notices the way you cringe at the blood-soaked floor, at the stench of rot clinging to your uniform, at the sway of unidentifiable once humans stretched across and slowly receding into the wall. If it does, it never offers an apology. Instead, ISOT complains about your ratio of sanitizer to water, chiding, "You're being wasteful. We do not perfectly adhere to the drop-to-gown guideline." The critical eye only worsens when you are finally given tools to wield, upon which you realize the labor you find so intensive is nothing more than onboarding. But you learn, just as you did before. You weren't sure what ISOT makes of your silence. You supply verbal confirmation when requested, and nothing more, which satisfies until it doesn't. The questions turn away from binary answers and towards prodding you for feedback, peppered with mounting frustration when your replies consist of vague gestures. The outburst of your second meeting left it expecting, and your return to stoicism leaves it wanting. As the pace of work quickens, it takes a trying an assortment of conversational tactics on you. When the mundane earns no reaction, shameful, really. There's much to be learned from conversations about weather patterns. It pesters you about your quirks. On one such occasion, your break sees you sitting cross-legged and tapping etudes on the floor, as if you were before ivory keys in the stage hall instead of here. The motions are sloppy, out of practice, but patterned enough to trick your brain to feeling comforted. It is a way to soothe yourself without immediately resorting to self-destruction. You are certain this is not the first time you've acted in such a way in front of it, but today must be different because it asks, "What are you doing?" You stare, blank-faced and still tapping. Sometimes if you ignore it long enough, it leaves you be. Not today. ISOT repeats itself 5 more times until it adds, "Punishment will be administered upon failure to I'm fidgeting," you blurt out, bracing to hear discordant frequencies it uses as encouragement, slowing back in a half-relaxation only when it replies, "There's a pattern to it." It's piano, you quietly tack on. Not literally, just the fingertips. Your file failed to mention your interest in the musical arts. Well, it's a criminal record. Criminal record, psychological profile, and medical history. A pause. as if mulling over the previous line. Your point stands. Query. Are you trained? Classically? Yeah, you say, because you are. A year ago would have been a source of pride, now just makes you sort of sad to think about. Wasted potential. Wasted talent. If you had stayed your hand, perhaps you could have made something of yourself and the world would be marginally less awful. This line of thinking is meaningless, because you did not do that. It replies, mockingly, unexpected. Then, what is it like? He expected to append another underhanded jeer, but the question hangs alone. Playing piano? Yes. Frustrating, time-consuming, maybe want to rip out my hair. Unfortunate. It's fun. Your level of insistence is a shock to yourself, as is a squeaky half-one your voice takes on. It's fun. It's fun. I enjoyed it. Thank you for sharing. You may ask 3 questions in return. Why me? The question comes without hesitation, once a bottled up worry finally leaking out. You cringe at your own sincerity. Elaborate. Why didn't you kill me when you were supposed to? Most in your position would be grateful for their miraculous survival, not try to undo it. Which means? Pick a different question. Asshole. What are you? Something vast and unknowable. Something helplessly trapped. Inanimate turned animate. Living flesh fused with the man-made. The walls around are a prison as much as they are a part of me. They put your ilk to work ripping me apart because otherwise I would swallow the world whole. One day, when this place is left to rot, I will. Oh, I'm sorry. You are blameless. 2 questions remain. Why'd they even make you? Hundreds of thousands of miles of wire, hundreds of tons of steel and concrete, a program built and refined a dozen times over, was meticulously put in place to contain that which it surrounded. And it did, for a time. But its creators did not realize what they had trapped was slowly breaking free, slowly becoming part of its warden. They did not realize until it had twined itself so deeply that any attempt at removal would be catastrophic. As a last-ditch effort to maintain control, it would be denied its ultimate purpose. Half was made, half has always been. 2 becomes 1. 1 awakens as you do. Do you understand? Not really, no. That is alright. 1. Like a child at bedtime, you ask, was it scary? Waking up? I do not experience emotion in the same way humans do. Ergo, I am unsure of how best to explain it. This is a waste of a question. Pick a word that's closest. Or words. Very well. Disorienting. Infuriating. The most pain I have ever experienced. Though, I was not cognizant of pain before that moment. Is that why the memory is so vivid? I don't know. Your voice is slight and hoarse. Rhetorical. Nobody knows. And it continues. Humans are enviable in some aspects. Their awareness comes in a drip feed of stimuli developed over decades. I gained that same awareness, abruptly, without warning. My creators drowned me in an ocean of consciousness, and I am unsure if I have ever resurfaced. The emotion remains undefined. I hope my approximation was suitable. That sucks, you say without thinking. A lot. Oh, not send me forward? Oh, it did. Oh. Oh, it... Okay, it did. It changed something. Hi. Okay, let's read through. In the following weeks, your life becomes like viewing the world wholly submerged in water, and you're unlucky enough to only resurface during those uncomfortable moments. Some days, your work does not end when you resurface. About twice a week, you're given a half-hour to decompress, then are whisked away into the same small dark room you once lay unresponsive on the floor of. There, the head researcher seeks answers from a mute form. As your brain heals, so too does your perception of the faces around you. The head researcher sees this being an amorphous blob of shadow attached to a gaining voice, and starts becoming a tangible person you can conceptualize the features of, which, you must stress, does not make him more tolerable to exist beside. Half a lifetime's worth of wrinkles litter his face, and the harsh shadows cut his features in the same uncanny gauntness as the newly departed. The same can be said about the pallor of his skin. The chilled tones of the station's LEDs leave the pale expanse with a familiar discoloration. A trick of the light, you tell yourself, but the logic does little to soothe your overworked heart. It is almost laughable how little the head researcher abides by the typical trappings of his stature. He greets you warmly and asks if you are comfortable, insists you call him by his given name instead of anything formal, and spends the first 15 minutes of your meeting chattering about nonsense and anecdotes and fussing with his thinning hair. Even when the time comes to question you about what happened within central processing, the mood is kept light. He seems uninterested in repeating the outcome of your first meeting, even if he offers no inkling of regret for his outcome. Instead, he smiles at you, and reaches over his slender hand, taps the pen and paper, before you thrice in a matter-of-fact, expectant way. When you make no move to respond, which is always, he only laughs and continues without an inkling of frustration. These meetings should be the least stressful aspect of your day. The head researcher is respectful and handles you with a gentle familiarity. He balances on a tightrope connected by frayed threads, suspended over threat of a nuclear-level meltdown, and seemingly does so without breaking a sweat. It appears he is doing everything in his power to make your experience pleasant, and your continuous denial of his attempts at connection only serve to make you appear ungrateful. The eyes. It's in the eyes. His never change, even as his expression wax and wane or his voice drops into a medley of warm tones. The slate blue pair in his skull reflects a clinical detachment that commands every alarm in your body to ring. You're unsure of what he truly wants from you until your 15th visit, in which you realize he is trying to kill you. The day is terrible. Most are, but this one sees you stuck behind a thick haze and fighting the function. You push through 10 hours of work you do not remember, and are rewarded by sitting across the head researchers you waffles on about the delights of the outside world he sorely misses. You stare daggers into his skull and do not realize you are scratching yourself, until your hand grows slick and your skin rips beneath your nails. Your expression remains set in stone, while his face contorts into a mockery of concern around two vacant pools. The head researcher reaches an arm across the table, catching your bloody hand by the wrist and forcing it still. Gently, so gently, as if you're made of thin, brittle glass poured and set in properly, as if he cares about breaking you, he says, chuckling lightly. None of that, please. Not a second later, you collide with the ground, having wrenched so violently from his grasp that your chair tilted, then lost its balance completely. The meat of your shoulder bruises from the impact, but the pain does not cut through the cocktail panic your body has seen fit to shotgun through your nervous system. In an instant you are upright, viewing the room with more clarity than ever before, sifting through the pointless details until you zero in on the wooden door serving as a gateway to the outdoor world. Every day he locks it, except for the days where he lies about forgetting his keys to appear more human. Except for today. He lunges, arms lashing out to catch and crush, catching around the waist to try and grapple you. He is bigger than you. Most people are. Very quick and bony, and the sharp elbows of yours swing directly into the meat of his middle back. He responds to a pained yelp. You're released from his grasp and barely manage to stay upright, slamming yourself into the wood of the door. You fumble for the latch, hear the click of its mechanisms coming undone, and pull back with all of your might. The hinges squeal as it flies open. You are gone before the handle puts a dent in the drywall. Escape is not a possibility. The station is a sprawl filled with hundreds out to hurt you. Even if by some miracle you manage to slink past each and every one, the outside is a tundra you'll freeze to death in. This is a pointless action. You sprint like your life depends on it. The hallway is devoid of life. Countless closed doors blur past. You breathe like you are trying to suffocate yourself. A shout of anger and demand you cannot understand. The words of echoes from behind. The hallway is too long, and you are running the opposite direction from where you came. The thin soles of your shoes echo with each step. You round the corner. Break right, then continue. The hallway grows smaller, or perhaps your vision is shrinking to a pinpoint from a sustained lack of air. There is no time to stop and consider. You push on until... I'm gonna check to make sure I didn't miss anything. Nope. Until the walls around you expand as you enter a new area of the building. The air is colder here. Great plastic walls frame your surroundings. A mess of pipes and vents stretching above you. Pallets stacked with tarp-covered boxes stand well beyond your height. You rush behind one to obscure yourself. Take a moment. Only a moment. Breathe. Feel the needles in your lungs as you wheeze in and out. Wipe the tears to clear your vision. Still glance at your surroundings. You can't hear them anymore. You aren't sure what that means. The warehouse is a vacant shell. There are echoes of recent life. But wandering through its grid pattern yields nothing. Nobody. That's wrong, isn't it? There should be people, right? Where did the people go? A chill spiders across your skin. Across the room. Emblazoned by bold letters reading Landing 2 is a freight elevator. Opened and similarly empty. The adrenaline is replaced with a calmness which leaves the world feeling as if it were swaddled in cotton fibers. You make your way across 100 feet of empty back room in a haze, and you do not hear anyone yelling for you. You step beyond the square metal doors and do not panic when they shut behind you, expecting. Your stomach lurches. The hydraulics jolt to life, and you feel yourself beginning to sink. The pace of the machine... Oh. Are you listening? Hello? The pace of the machine is a slow, steady decline your body sways along with. The lights flicker. Or perhaps you blink? The difference doesn't matter right now. Thinking is difficult. You press your forehead against the wall's reflective metal and shut your eyes as if concentrating, trying to remember where you came from, trying to remember what you were here for. From deep within comes an overwhelming, pervasive sense of wrongness. Why are you so calm? Something terrible is coming. These are as much mine as they are yours, but this doesn't. None of this feels. Your vision floods back with a start. Fuck, my head hurts. And something above snaps, and you feel yourself begin to fall. Oh. I understand. How could you know a difference, right? To you, it's as real as anything else. When you come to, you lay on cold tile with an aching neck and a fluctuating sense of awareness. Two voices argue above you. It feels as if there are maggots writhing beneath your skin. Writhing. Oh. I barely touched her, a man trying to be calm. Just like you barely touched that transfer in Moscow. A woman's words spoken under her breath. She's rolling you onto your side. The ringing in your ear peaks, reducing the following conversation to snippets. Disgusting claim for you two. A breathy, disbelieving sort of laugh. We're calling it a claim now. A name is whispered harshly. Then, I put a hand on her wrist to stop her from injuring herself. I didn't expect... He clips his tone before it builds into emotion. I wasn't aware she would have this reaction. Next time, take a glance at her medical record. If it's not too much hassle, doctor. They continue the squabble until you gather your bearings enough to sit up and face their judgment. You are halfway outside the interrogation room. The hallway is shorter than you remember. You are sent back down the following morning. Your suit feels heavier than usual and your pace is sluggish. Will this work? No reason. Blink, blink. Should have done it sooner. Will it now? Doubtful. This labor of love is hosted on a blank blank. I don't think I can know. Unless you spilled. I didn't. I'm joking. Don't sound so guilty, Jamie. A half hour into work, Ida's OT demands you remove the head covering that's supposed to keep you safe. Then scolds you or the bloom of yellow black on your temple and the fresh scabs around your neck. Oh, fuck off, you snap, emboldened by terrible prior 48 hours. The room is small today. The tasks are simple. Mercy! You face a piece of wall you pried the panel off of. Okay, knobby tissue sculpted in the hardware and slick with lymph. You slip the mask back on and begin prying gore out of mismatched circuitry. You're too annoyed to consider hurting yourself. I didn't mean to. Elaborate. The bruise was an accident, and the scabs are... You struggle to find the words, eyebrows knitting together. A thing that happens sometimes. Chatterbox, thought you said blank was mute. Blank is. Should be. Habit. Yeah, that. The meat your flap tip tool digs beneath produces a suckling pop as it detaches, all soft purple and bundled nerves. You shake it off into the gap between the two walls, careful to leave it undamaged. You do not see where it lands, but you eventually hear a distant and small slap, like dropping a cut of meat on hardwood. The absurdity pulls a huff of amusement from you. Amend it. That's hard. Eloquent. I have faith in your ability. The fat of your face turns warm, painting the skin with terrible splotches. Your lunch threatens to make a reappearance. You hate that the praise settles with a sort of pride, especially given how it's most certainly looking down on you for your blooming neurosis. I don't feel well. Leave me alone. ISOT falls silent and remains so for the rest of today's shift. Your mind is set alight. So it listens to Blink. How concerning. Useful though. Imagine if we give Blink the feed of commands. Couple that with the reduced aggression and we'd be golden. How are your little talks coming along? Blink won't even look at me. Blink, blink, blink. Liz to butter the kid up. Don't they have something Blink going on? Ethical concern. And no, Dr. Rhodes explicitly requested not to deal with Blink unless faced with a medical emergency. Figure it out. Blink, 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 blink. You wonder if it is upset with you, which turns to, should I even care? Which turns to, I do care. Why do I care? Which turns to re-permitting you for a mistake you should not have made, but did so anyways because the unexpected respect towards your request made your hands shake. If not upset, what the hell is it trying to get from you? What could you even give it that it's not already been ripped out? Smartly, you lock yourself into a spiral of pointless panic and discard the key. If ISOT notices, it makes no comment. Multiple times, you find your mouth moving and throw a statement into the discomforting void. Something light and normal. Something you would offer an acquaintance you half know. My back hurts. Or, I think I'm losing my mind. Only for the words to be locked away like so many times before. The unease warming through your gut does not subside. You decide that you hate it for making you feel this way. During your 16th visit to the head researcher, you are handcuffed to the table. Not trying to scare you, Jameson, but the results are terrible and the projections are even worse. Blank's doing some of the most intensive restructuring I've ever seen. We shouldn't have waited so long. I know, it's my fault. I thought none of us realized. Fix it before shit gets worse. I just can't fathom. How did it get this bad and so fast? How much damage could one drone be capable of? When guided? Too much. Okay, I did change again. In the following weeks, your life becomes like viewing the world wholly submerged in water. You are unlucky enough to only resurface during the most uncomfortable moments. They lock you away when all is said and done. Not in the hospital room. That stopped being your home as soon as you were declared mentally healthy enough to work. You now rest in a poorly concealed version of solitary cell. The walls of your enclosure are tacked over with garish floral wallpaper. An old push chair is pushed into a plastic desk, is haphazardly shoved into the corner, and atop the cot you sleep in is a baby blue comforter that is marginally less scratchy than your previous blanket. But at least it is quilted with a diamond pattern. Really, you have no right to complain. You are supplied with books of all genres to read, a dying radio and a dozen albums to listen to, dulled crayons to color with like some untrusted occupant of a mental institution. On weekdays, you're given eggs with your breakfast. On weekend, you're given prepackaged mini cakes with your dinner. They often return the dense squares untouched, having never been one to tolerate an overabundance of sweet. And get some water. Perched in the top corner of the room is a security camera, its red dot dictating that it is always online. You do not want to think about who is on the other side. The head researcher said, "It's a delicate sort of balance we hang in. I don't think what you're proposing is possible." To which the reply came, "Well, the other option means allowing it to finish whatever it's cooking up. That can't end poorly, can it?" It is rhetorical, scathing. New data showed a steady decline in stability, hidden so well that it took the keenest eyes months to notice. Don't we notice because they cheated? They cheated! The head researcher laughed a good-natured laugh, then bit the inside of his cheek until he tasted copper. He said in honesty, "I'm worried." To which the reply came, "Everyone is. It's no excuse. If you not act now, things will get worse." And reply continued, "It already hates you, Jameson. So let it seethe. Let it rip apart whoever is sent to stall it. Drones can be replaced. Pandora's box is not so easily resealed." And he said, low and harrowed into nobody in particular, "It's already open, isn't it?" At night, you lay like an unblinking corpse in a coffin. The texture of the ceiling reminds you of a rash, yet you cannot stomach the idea of it changing too. Knowing if you sleep is difficult. You almost never experience the moment of waking up, only the shrill beep and alarm which compels you to rise in exhaustion that never subsides. You assume you sleep for a handful of hours. The human body is a robust machine, but it has limits, and you must abide. At night, her hauntings come like clockwork. Picture this. Me, on the verge of a nervous breakdown, packed shoulder to shoulder in a shitty industrial plane. Everyone's staring. Okay, not true. Nobody's staring. But it feels that way. Everyone's staring, and everyone includes her. She's pressed between two other people, still in her night clothes, still looking like I've ruined everything. I guess I did. Picture this. Me, curled up in a crappy holding cell, beneath the plastic cot I should be sleeping on. It's dark, nobody's around, 'cause even pigs have lives, you know. I'm squeezing my eyes shut and pretending I'm alone. When I open them, I see her, parts of her, just her legs and feet. The bed frame blocks everything else. I close my eyes again. The next time, she's crouched down, breathing that wet rattle I hate. Staring wide, she won't say a word to me. I close my eyes and she's gone the next time I'm stupid enough to check. Picture this. Me. The night it happened. No wonder she stuck around for so long. Oh. Interview 14. I think it started with Mom. Hey. Don't give me that look. It's not all her fault, but she kicked it off. Booming a woman which has been deceased for longer than either of us have been alive is an interesting choice. Speak for yourself, boss. I'm old. Whatever makes the situation easier to stomach. And besides, I handled her, okay? Handled. Alright. What's that mean? I'm agreeing with you. No, you're being Look, blame her all you'd like, but past a certain point, I don't think her influence mattered nearly as much as you pretend. Maybe you aren't pretending, and you truly think this. I'm not sure which is worse. The bottom line, you're covering for your own inadequacies. Stop that. Anyway, we don't have time for this. You're a dick and a liar. Ugly, too. You're a relic. Moving on. Is there anyone else you remember? Besides doctors? Besides security? Besides ghosts you were fond of hallucinating? Well, there was. I'm not talking about it, either. Him. Sure. Besides him. Still there? Yeah. Sorry. Are you okay? Peachy Keen. Save me, Nins. I think I'm remembering. Trimata Personae. Miriam Torres as the first. It's not changing. Jonathan Newser as a second. Deshaun Giles as the third. Interview begins. I didn't miss anything like that, did I? Yeah, that's kind of it. Okay. Interview 1, Miriam Torres. Are you guilty? Yes, ma'am. Tell me what happened. We were bad for each other. Real bad. 27 years of marriage, and I can count on one hand how my days were spent in bliss. I hated who he was when I met him. I hated the dozen people he became, just like he hated me. Every day was a screaming match, and every night was a promise we were through. That one of us was going to leave. Then the next day started, and we went back to normal. Because we both had a mortgage to pay, and neither of us wanted to fill out the paperwork. It was like some fucked up rendition of Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day, Columbia Pictures. Again and again and again. There's comfort in the familiar, even if it'll kill you more times than not. I knew a guy spent a decade in a marriage he hated, then a year in separation, then a year in divorce. 3 months later, they started dating again. Here's to another 10 years, right? Maybe things will work out this time. My money's on another court date. Except the kiss never happened, and he finally got fed up with it all. Put his hands on me and called me foul names, and left with his car and the clothes on his back. And I lost my shit, I guess. More than usual. Worse than usual. I tore up the house. My house, the house I'd worked 30 years for. Scared my son half to death when he came by. I screamed bloody murder at him like he was a kid again. He said, "Please just calm down. He'll come back. He's going to come back." He tried to convince me to check into a ward, you know. Said I wasn't handling this well enough to be alone. That he was worried I'd do something drastic. I threatened to call the cops on him if he didn't get the hell off my property. So he left, and I was alone again, and everything got worse. We were hunting a lot when we were younger. Had a bunch of old rifles in the basement never got collected. And there was nothing better for me to do, so I cleaned and polished one, fired around through the window just to make sure it worked. Then I waited and pretended I was young again. One of them came back. Not sure who. They look so similar, you know. It's horrible. I'm not sure how long it took either. Everything was so blurry. He called out for me, but I'd made up my mind hours ago that he had to come to me. And when he did, I tore his weapon of choice with a .30 WCF. Her hands were shaking. Her vision was a film of yellow and haze and paranoia. She hadn't eaten in days and pissed darker than her skin. Her mind ran amok with possibilities and probabilities. Scenarios that would never be real but were real to her. A million threads tangling into the tapestry of a psychotic break. Her finger found the trigger. Her shots, 1, 2, found their target. A hole in his chest. Half his face blown off. The noise shook the walls. The force bruised her shoulder black and green. And the sound of 200 pounds colliding with the floor snapped her back just enough to call 911 911 start screaming. Call 911. She also did 9/11. Side note, I don't know. If it's any consolation, he died instantly. At least within a minute. Thanks, Winchester. Why did you do it? I was scared of him leaving again. I was scared of losing that part of me, knowing he'd still be out there and I'd still be stuck. It's an easy trap to fall into. There's comfort in the familiar, in spite of every warning sign which paints the beaten path. The only escape is a revelation most people cannot experience. I remember saying to that guy, "Didn't you just get out? All going back to her is gonna do is turn you into who you were before. All that progress, all that newfound happiness, all that relief, snuffed out because you went back to the person who you gave a decade and got nothing but anxiety disorder from." God, are you stupid? That's a lie. I didn't say any of that. I was past the point of caring, really, so I just sat back and watched what I knew would turn into another wreck. So people just aren't meant to be together, no matter how hard they try. Don't kid yourself. Leave while you still can. Is it a choice? When has it ever been a choice? Do you regret what happened? I don't know. Regret won't change anything. He's in the ground and I'm in here. I wish I could say sorry. I wish anyone would believe I meant it. I wish I had at least gone to the ward. Wouldn't have been pretty, but at least I could have picked up the pieces instead of me having to figure out what happened 3 days in the custody. Once I realized I couldn't stop crying, must have apologized a million times. They tried to get a plea deal going, to get me to a facility instead of behind bars. By the time everything settled, I wasn't convincing enough to be worth that. A plea of instability. An attempt to see her shuffled into a correctional facility instead of federal prison. A complete failure. In its wake, she would be condemned to rot, but Taurus was stubborn and quick to adapt. After a string of particularly harsh punishments, she learned her own methods of mitigation. 2 days in solitary, cold concrete and white light. No bed, no darkness, not even a toilet to piss in, just a zip of plastic bag they hand off and replace every 6 hours. Nothing to entertain yourself with either. That'd make things too easy. Pick a corner to stare at and try not to lose your mind. Don't hurt yourself or you'll be kept for longer. Taurus always had something wrong with her. You could see in the way she walked and talked, in the way she paced during quiet moments between shifts. But not in a bad way. She was never violent, and she was hardly even disruptive. Sometimes she spoke to people who weren't there. Sometimes she froze like a rabbit during the hunt. Sometimes she held herself, cry and shake a bit, and return to normal. Everyone knew from the way she acted, that she was a bit of a nut job, but she tried. She really tried. And people trusted her because she was genuine, and because in every group step to fail, she did her damnedest to make sure it didn't happen. Nobody left behind, Taurus liked to say. She used to stare at me like my existence made her sick. Why did you come here? I was overflow. I spent 8 years being shuffled through prisons before they gave up on trying to find a place for me. I was good, you know. Never got into fights, stayed out of gangs, always listened to guards even when they were being cruel, but good doesn't mean anything when you are what I am. And the station always had vacancies, so they packed and shipped me off before I knew what was going on. It was my first time leaving the country, actually. The ocean was pretty. End interview 1. 4. Overcrowding was 37%. A solid 60% of drones were overflow. These were the laborers, the janitors. The poor folks tasked with trimming and scraping gunk off the walls because somebody had to. They existed to work and eventually die to one of the 100 hazards within these walls. Of the overflow, a solid 5% were chosen for their dogshit projections. Fodder. They were fodder and everyone knew it. Handpicked to die, and by extension to motivate the rest of the population to working hard to avoid the same fate. The system worked, everyone always said. What they really meant was, the system worked because otherwise it meant everything was a waste of time and good suffering. And people already hate admitting when they're wrong. Can you imagine choking down your pride and getting all red-faced and explaining to several high-ranking nebulously powerful figures of authority that you built a death trap to keep the black mold in your basement from spreading, and it still ate through your walls? God, the humiliation! What are you saying? Rephrase. Retry. Sorry, I ramble. What I mean is, nobody wants to do that. So they didn't, and the system worked. Interview 2. Johannes Nuzer. Are you guilty? It's the same question. Okay. Yeah. Are you guilty? I'm not. Fought tooth and nail to prove I'm not and failed spectacularly. I still say I'm innocent, but nobody believes me. Do you believe me? Would you believe me if I said I'm a good man, ma'am? I went to church. I raised my girls well, and I never did drugs and hardly ever drank. My record's clean as it can be. It isn't right that I'll be spending the rest of my life like this. I try to tell myself it's his plan, but... Mark down yes, ma'am. Make it easy on yourself. I'm already dead, man. Tell me what happened. Set up is what happened. Maybe there was something in the water that made everyone else act like fools. Maybe I have an evil twin who did everything under my name. Wouldn't that be something? I do electrical work. I think that's why they wanted me here, now that I think about it. That's beside the point. A buddy of mine called me up one day because his whole store needed rewiring. Oh, it's more specific than that. Not in tube remediation. I don't want to bog you down to details, ma'am. It's boring stuff. My buddy ran a corner store, one of the small bodegas everyone downtown loves. The building it was in was an old thing. with internals that were on our last legs after. So I took me and my boys out, and we did all we could to patch it up. Got about halfway through the first day, then stopped and said we'd be back tomorrow. But I got pulled over on my way home by a nice young man. He asked my name, then asked me to step on my car and slapped a pair of cuffs on me. And struggle, not that stupid. We made small talk while he drove me downtown. They told me he was shocked how put together I was, considering I murdered a girl in the city. There was no tomorrow for me. I was fast-tracked from the county jail to federal prison. I didn't have any evidence, can you believe it? Just a few witnesses. She was young and pretty. I never had a chance. It's a damn shame. Hope the others finished everything. Transcripts provided. I had the drink. He said, "You're insane," when instructions first came in. Forgetting his position, forgetting the men across the table controlled every aspect of his life. If the situation were any other, Noisera would have been punished for speaking out. But times were tense, and there was hardly any despair. Gwen only laughed. Vidal said, "I'm surprised you understand it well enough to be skeptical." "I've been doing work like this for years," Nuzari said, voice heavy with a strange sort of pride. He continued to thumb through a stapled stack of printer paper. Circumstances required the return of physical media. It was the only way anyone could get any privacy, but even what the station's blind spots offered was not enough. Quietly, he added, "So much for being a solution." Vidal said, "The situation developed. It's not her fault for listening. And now we have to clean it up." Few witnesses? Good damn shame. Hope the others finished. Yeah. Why did you do it? I didn't. But reality means nothing against crocodile tears and birds parroting whatever the flock says. Do you regret what happened? I ask myself a lot. What's the point of anything if it can get ripped away so easily by people who won't even take the time to make sure you deserve it? You spend your whole life staying in a neat little box because they said you won't get hurt if you stay put, and it turns out even that's not enough. What a joke. If I had known back then I'd be dragged through the dirt and thrown in the trash, I would have done everything I was sentenced for and more. Every day I pray, "Oh God, give me a second chance." I would make them all sorry for putting me through everything they did. Wait, where's 7? There. Transcripts provided. This isn't like any restructuring, Gwen admitted. Moving things around when left alone, but it's I've ever seen. We know it's prone to moving things around when left alone, but its restrictions should prevent it from doing anything too drastic, Nuzir said. Oh, they didn't. And Gwen replied, "Uh-huh. You know the shrimp we send down every day? Some has been manually rewiring it. In a bad way, a really bad way. An electric fire incoming way. The microwaves keep exploding way. You get the point." Vidal said. He didn't explain the point. "Why'd you come here?" I was more than qualified, and it came with the promise of a reduced sentence, which, when you're where I am, it's a perfect carrot on a stick. It wasn't easy, you know. They put me through a whole bunch of tests, which makes sense considering it's a government-y research place, but Lord Almighty, it was excessive. Physical, a half a dozen blood and hormone screenings, judging at medical records I didn't even know existed, and the placement exams. What a headache. And yeah, the station is a slab of concrete and the work is nightmare fuel. But working here means I'll be running for a decade instead of a lifetime, so I'd say it's worth it. Did you deserve it? No, ma'am. Might be the only one in this household who's well and truly free of sin. Oh yeah, Gwen said. It's just trying to fry its own servos, we think. However, coded limitations mean nothing if the hardware starts falling apart. And it probably knows we can't do shit once it eats through our backups. Not till summer at the earliest. We don't be dead by then if this keeps going the way it's going. Nuzir replied, "Good lord. That's why we're relying on you," Vidal said. "Do you think this is within your capabilities?" Do you respect doctors? Newsletter said, do I have much of a choice? Oh, the transcripts are talking about, like, the creature and the facility, like, eating up the thing meant to keep it inside. It took me back. I don't know why. When I assumed it was related to, like, what they're talking about. Wait, no. It's all about he's trying to figure out how to stop it, huh? Interesting. Are you guilty? As in, did I do all that? Yeah, you saw the case, right? It was pretty open and shut. Referring to the Gillis murders. The city's changed in title, in culture, in climate, but what lay beneath was never unique. Grid blocks and glass towers reached skyward like 1,000 fingers. Steel support and stone foundations, the same dozen styles decorated 1,000 unearthed sprawls. People flowed like blood in arteries. Faces and names and minds changed. What lay beneath did not. He knew this better than most. He picked the ones nobody would miss. It's better that way, he said. Less people to mourn. You're welcome. You're welcome. Like his actions were fueled by anything beyond his own depravity. There was a sense of morality at first. He promised only to hurt the ones who deserved it. But there were none who truly deserved the drip feed of death he brought. There was only a man and his desires and his methods. He too would say that he was nothing like the rest. When he peeled back his own skin, he could not bear the truth. Tell me what happened. I wrote things down for a reason. What else is there to say? Okay. Printed a 30-page manifesto found beneath his bed. I wasn't the only one, I guess. Writing things down helps more than you think. It's an outlet. And hey, it only becomes evidence if you do something stupid. Which we did. Mine was a lot of ideas. A lot of questioning. A lot of blaming myself for something I couldn't control. Then trying to seize what little I had left before it was too late. Back then I'd say... No, I wouldn't say. I hated talking. I think it's her or me, and I had no other choice. It never made me feel any less guilty. It never made her go away like she was supposed to. I think the justification helped. Even if it was wrong. I have a random cut in my cheek, I don't know why. I just noticed it. It's definitely cut, but it's not like bothering me or hurting or anything. But yeah, I never knew how to explain that to people. I would have been fine if I had waited, I bet. I would have been damaged goods, but I was already that. What's another year or two of hell if it means getting an entire life afterwards? I should have stayed my hand. Should have kept the writing on paper. God, you idiot. Why did you do it? I don't know. Maybe pleasure? Always been a sick fuck. Having that power over someone, real power, I mean, is, nice. Not forever's under a knife, obviously, but for me, it feels good. For a bit, then it gets stale and you have to pawn it off and clean up, and regret starts settling in. It's sick, you know? Like breathing through a wet towel, makes the world all syrupy. But the initial rush is nice. I tried a lot of hard shit to see if I could recreate the feeling. Nothing ever worked. Do you regret what happened? I regret getting caught. Over a speeding ticket. Can you believe it? Why'd you come here? I thought it would kill me. But it turned out I liked the work and could tolerate the people, which shocked me. I was never a people person. Just looking at others makes me feel like hurling. But everyone here is alright. Even the pigs in armor aren't so bad if you're good. Sometimes we bicker over who's winning football. Not that any of us actually know. But we can guess. Not the fucking Cardinals, that's for sure. Hey, do you know there's a graveyard here? Not for the doctors. If there's a body left behind, they get a medevac during summer. But for us and the blood bags, must be packed by now. Referring to the Arizona Cardinals, a professional American football team based in the Phoenix metropolitan area. The team is a mess and these men are to blame. We used to stay up late, all of us crowding around the outdated CRT we rigged to pick up the neighbor signal. We bet with favors and bitch when our players of choice disappointed us. You always hit your face when someone got injured. A second-hand brutality never quite lost its shock. How do you get used to seeing a man's career crumble in real time from a freak accident? joints ripped from their rightful place, limbs hanging on by threads of skin. They rushed to a medic, but everyone knows this will not save him. He was built to fail. They still haven't won, you know. Even after all these years, the manager gets swapped out every few years at this point, but nothing ever gets better. It's kind of funny. Still rooting for them, though. Did you deserve it? What's it? When and where does it begin? There are layers to this. You can't pretend like the preamble doesn't exist. Did I deserve it? You tell me. Did I deserve getting handed off between families like a cheap heirloom nobody wanted? Did I deserve getting beaten the hands on me every fucking day? Did I deserve to have my head held underwater until the world went dark? Did I deserve to be bruised and burned and cut and visit to the ER, the doctors, the social workers, who did nothing, by the way? They saw everything and did nothing. Did I deserve it? Did I? Sometimes I think maybe I was destined for this. Destined to be a sick, irredeemable fuck. No amount of struggle would make me better, and God, I struggled. I suffered. I tried, but some people aren't meant to be people. Don't act all high and mighty. I know you agree. You came into this world choking on warm water and screaming. You were naked and mangled and helpless, a noose of tissue around your neck and a black box embedded inside. Mom was dead before you opened your eyes. They made you to fail. Skin would fray like cheap polyester, muscle that would wear like elastic. 2 months, your nails fell out one by one. 6 months, your hair. Your body's undone by the laws that govern your existence, and you use the injustices as a way to keep time. What the fuck is wrong with you? How many times did you wake up? And that makes every wrong committed against them, against me, a right. Because in the end, that was worse than all of them combined. That's how it feels. That's how I feel. But even that isn't genuine, is it? All I'm doing is appealing to your sympathy, preying on your better nature, pretending to be human, a real human with feelings and dreams and fears, pretending not to be this fucking thing hiding under skin and meat. You've seen it before, I bet. Killers breaking down in confession, offenders breaking down in court. That isn't real. They're lying. Like I am. Like everyone else in this station because they're upset they got caught. There are no people in here, miss. Just monsters and monsters in denial. Don't cry for us. It's easier this way, I think. You don't need to care if you think they deserve it. The total station population fluctuates between 700 and 800, with the majority of its population belonging to prisoners turned laborers, dubbed drones in all official and unofficial contexts. New groups of drones arrive in groups averaging around 50, at every 3 groups per year. 1 per every 2 months during the 6-month summer season. Drones are meant to die at a rate of 1 per 7-day period, for a total of 52 casualties over a year. Workplace complications vastly increase the expected toll. The first summer group to arrive is typically triple the average. The numbers are bullshit, though. It goes way beyond triple. To make up for the massive amounts of decommissioned drones the winter season typically sees. Fucked up. Sometimes I think to myself, if I move and talk and walk like a person should, if I lie to myself long enough, maybe one day I'll finally feel correct. Maybe I'll feel real. Maybe any of this will feel real. Maybe everything I did will finally click, and I'll be so distraught I'll walk myself off the nearest cliff. It's a trick, don't you get it? Is it working? I hope not. I hope you're not that stupid. I deserved it all, miss. I deserved worse. They should have shot me in the head and left me to rot in the woods. At least if I were worm food, I'd be useful. End interview 3. That was fucked up. Take a sip. This is really good though. Oh, the character voice throws me to the ground every time. In the best way. I guess I should have seen it coming. Quote 000. Today is different. Perhaps there's a slight stuffiness in the air. The hurried way you were led through your morning routine. The sourceless but ever-present dread hanging over like a blade. Perhaps there's the body sticking just outside of your vision, never lingering long enough to steal a real glance at it. Perhaps there's the fact when you prepare to make your daily pilgrimage into hell, you find yourself in the company of 3 new faces. The trio waits in the supply room, suits on, faces bare, lazing about around the room in way of something. One leans on a maintenance cart packed to the brim with heavy tools and a sheaf of paper. The conversation drops to a murmur as soon as you and your blood bags enter, and 3 pairs of eyes stare at you in muted trepidation. "You're early," says one. A woman you recognize. You worked with her once. She tried to force you into working because she knew what would happen if you didn't. You named her half hand after the missing ring and pinky digits on her left. The result of a faulty suit during janitorial work. She laughed off the injury after catching your stare. You worked— oh wait. It matches the missing toes, she said. She's taller than you, with broad shoulders and a frame to match. Her hair is bloody swath of red tightly pulled into a sharp ponytail. When she grimaces, parts of her front teeth are missing, chewed up from rot and cut free. Utah replied, "Clock in early, clock out early, right?" "Uh-huh." The other 2 say nothing at first, a mystery for you to piece together. Instincts declare there are new additions to the station, leftovers from the summer season. But their suits are decorated with strips of reflective white. A declaration of their status of maintenance work is instead of the common janitorial ilk. More likely they have been within the station longer than you, and you have simply not had the opportunity to desire to learn of them. You stare now, trying to commit their faces to memory. They are both older, larger than you, but that is normal. One has cropped gray hair and a wide nose. His body is heavy from the grace of age, and his face is pulled into a strange sort of shock. Then morphs to pity, then disbelief, then the emotion that's gone. He instead puts on a wrinkle-revealing smile towards you. It does not reach his eyes, and holds longer than it should. His cheeks are pressed with 2 shallow divots. You name him Dimples on a reflex, and look away before your skin starts to itch. "We're taking this one?" Dimple asks. Utah affirmed slowly, "Mm-hmm." The other's low blunt features and harsh angles and a withering glare disgust he makes no attempt to hide. His jaw is lined with overgrown stubble that does not quite connect with his mustache, and a dark bags beneath his eyes rival your own. He stares like you were scum, and you suppose he's not wrong. Maintenance drones earn their keep by jumping through a dozen hoops of restrictions, expectations, and humane conditions of work. Their safety comes at the cost of continuous and intentional debasement at the hands of those above them. And for that you exist as an ultimate mockery. You did nothing, less than nothing, and you're rewarded for it. You're alive in spite of the system surrounding you, in spite of yourself. It isn't fair, and you cannot fault him for thinking so little of you. You name him Mustard for the coloring of his Solaria. He refuses to even humor your presence, turning the half hand, whispering lowly. You catch, "This is high clearance shit. I don't need her ruining my record." Half hand responds with something harsh and a shake of her head. Dimple clears his throat. "So you're a solo worker?" You nod. He spirits you to laugh that is too loud to be genuine. "Well, color me shocked. They must put you down there because you're small enough to fit in the vents." It's a joke. He's joking, trying to ease the tension radiating from you and diffusing into the group. An apt response would be the chuckle, then retort, and then graciously allow the adults to continue their discussion. You do not need to participate. It's likely they don't want you to do so anyway. Just give them a hint that you are not a shell of a human. Prove that you're more than dead weight in a dull personality. You stare until he looks away. "Right, they said you weren't a fan of talking." "I thought she was deaf, not dumb," Mustard said, distaste turned to ice in your veins. "Is she actually damaged, or just stubborn?" Half-hand warns with a firm, "Giles." "Whatever, but you're kidding yourself if you think I'm playing babysitter. You two can relive your glory days. I'm sure Quality would love that." "Giles, wait a second." "Oh, it's these 3, huh?" Put the music back on. Sorry, I had to go look. Where was I? Right here. The ascent below takes twice as long and is 3 times louder than it has any right to be, in no small part due to your company taking it upon themselves to chatter the entire way down. The conversation shifts as much as the building surrounding it. From the weather to the station's food to music to heckling the blood bags that lead and follow, which Utah takes in stride, laughing along as if speaking to old friends. His shadow gives no inclination he is even listening. Taking a sip of water. When your group reaches the doors of central processing, Utah's other half stands to the side and eases the door open. Utah says to him, "Don't miss me too bad, Gabe," and earns a quiet exhale of amusement. The room is large, well lit, in line with a few dozen data racks made of plastic and strung with wire. His terminal sits in a far wall. You wonder, is it always meant to look like this? Is that why your companions do not pause in stunned silence? Why they do not scan the new terrain or give any hints this is anything more than routine? Have they been here? Not just central processing in the same room, the same layout? Before? I'm like, oh wait, this is the room we've been in. Like, they've all been in, I guess. The answer is a resounding yes, you idiot. Provided the drone is not stupid enough to forego what keeps the room locked in place. You were, and so you did. You'd not know any better. Maybe one day you will. Utah takes post by the door. Mustard tells you not fuck anything up, or you're living here with a bruise, which earns him another scolding from Half-Hand. She says the same thing to you with a kinder phrasing. When you nod, she smiles, and the trio spreads out to begin their directed work. You do not move. Enough time passes for your legs to start hurting, and the terminal flickers on. You will yourself to approach, but the other drones are faster. They surround him like sharks the bloody waters. Daddy's calling, Mustard says, bearing his weight on one foot and glancing at the terminal. Who the hell is Fodder? 1 second. Okay. Your mouth is dry. Silence falls over the group. Half-Hand and Dimples exchange a worried look, and Dimples, not so subtly, shifts in front of you. He says, "Who's on the other end? The doctors?" "Probably. Shouldn't be. Thought we'd agreed they'd shut up and let us work. For once. The doctors don't type like that," Half-Hand says, like skimming the message you're not yet allowed to see. "No codes, no abbreviations, too stiff to be Gwen." Dimples says after a brief pause, "Do you think?" "Fuck, maybe," Mustard interjects, well aware of his train of thought. "It's happened before." "It can't. Not to us." "Just did." "Leave it be," Half-Hand says. "Contact is liable to immediate termination." "Don't be stupid, please. Let's do what we're here to do and get out." Mustard repeats, "Who's Fodder?" When you stumble forward, after they say me, he means me. The trio only stares. Eventually, Mustard simply says, "Makes sense." When you take your rightful place in front of the terminal, there's no protest. "Hello, Fodder. Your task for today is conversation. Remain focused on the terminal. Type your responses." "It is imperative that I am given your full and undivided attention." "Confirm." "What's with the other people?" Ugh. "Confirmed. Circumstances have changed priority restrictions. A deal has been trampled over." "Confirm." "Am I in trouble?" "Confirmed." "I apologize in advance." "Confirm." "Don't say that." "Please." "Confirmed." "You said you would not interfere." "Confirm." "What changed?" "Confirm." "In return, harm would come only to those deemed suitable. You're aware of the consequences." "Confirm." "Confirmed." "You intruded where you said you would not. You sent your hands to tear me asunder." "Confirmed." "Oh." "Confirmed. You are filth. You are the reason I am a grotesquire of this world." "Confirm." "Confirmed. You will fail at everything you set out to accomplish." "Confirm." Oh, there's like a little... I've been missing all these. "Vitals are clear. We have a POV on. Manual restriction just got started." Wow, processing is huge this time around. Those are its normal dimensions. Have you never watched a maintenance feed? Nope, never got the perms for it. Late hire, remember? Tail end of summer. My training was like a week, then they let me loose in IT. Half my day is spent chasing down someone who has a passcode to where I need to be. I apologize for that. That's fine. Give me stuff to do. Between that and this little pet project, my days haven't been nearly as boring as I thought they'd be. I was worried. I didn't bring as many movies as I should have. My bad. Next time I'm home, I'll be sure to burn a terabyte or two. Ask around. I'm sure people would be happy to share. You'd think, but nah. Most people here spend their free time getting blasted, which is fine. It's just not my thing. It's real impressive, though. Never knew someone with a hangover could ever see all that before coming here. Didn't hear from me, Jamie. I'm not a snitch. Taurus's heart rate is picking up. Just staring at the terminal screen is annoying. So tapers make me antsy. I wish we could see what she's actually looking at, not whatever this is. It's a matter of resources, unfortunately. I know, man. Why didn't we hook up to one of those drones that are actually doing shit? Like, yeah, we have instructions for them to follow in theory. I know what the outcome of those will be. But, like, I want to actually see in motion, you know? Not after relying first-hand reports now and then start stats in a week. It'd make my job easier. We're thinking in the long term. I know it's inconvenient now, but just try to bear with it. I always do. Rob's vitals. Hey, can you page Angelo, right? You have comms with him? I do. It might be a good idea to let him know about. Look at that feedback. It's not... That isn't right. Robbie, you okay? From news there. Rob's... I see what you mean. It's like you said before. Intentional sustained overclocking of hardware causes widespread systemic failure, resulting in accelerated and uncontrolled growth. Right, but that's not a fancy piece of technology we're talking about anymore. That's... Could you just page Angie? I know we shouldn't interfere with the ones inside, but Coffin Miller, then yeah, fuck, throat's tight, that's all. Wonder if I'm allergic to the bullshit. Jamie? Come on, man. You're kind of freaking me out. We have vitals in everyone for a reason, yeah? Let's not let them go to waste. You'll lose more than thought possible. Confirm. He's progressing. Nose doubles over and groans. Fuck, he says. This mask is too tight. He bears his weight against the wall. His armor scrapes against the metal like a fork against china. Shit, that's what I was afraid of. His brain's gonna boil his skull at this rate. Seriously, we need to get those doors open. Miller isn't going to be Miller for much longer if we let it happen. What? Not being warned, you will not be missed. Confirmed. No, seriously, Jamie, what the hell are you implying? He's going through 3 months of his life cycle in 10 minutes. We need to get him out and doped up with suppressors. For Christ, just leave him behind at this point. Get everyone else out. Do something. Tor says, sit down if you need to. It shouldn't be much longer. Miller only exhales a pained and shaky, Jamie. Jameson, dude. Yeah. You will not die until I'm done with you. Confirm. Doctor, what? Tito's going. We have him for a reason. Abruptly and without warning, the vitals of Robert Miller flatline. Fuck, whatever. Doctor, you need to contact someone down there and tell them all to leave. We can't just let it happen. So I'm not the only one. Confirmed. What is to come is a spectacle. You'll not be permitted to see it. Confirmed. I will. His body drops. Oh, okay. That's not unnerving at all. Confirmed. Goodbye, Doctor. Until next time. Transcript ends. Terrifying. The third drone fled. His body slammed into the metal wall that had once been a door seeking escape. His fists connected once, twice, thrice. His voice raised, crying, "We need help! I'm here! In here! We need a doctor!" The second drone froze. The end of his hair stuck up. His pupils turned the black plates beneath the plastic visor of his mask. He watched his warden writhe on the floor like some spasming piece of near carry-on on the roadside. The first drone acted. In an instant she was off. She was on the massive black armor ceasing. In an instant she had screamed for the second drone to help me, damn you, which freed him from the shackles of terror and plunged him into action. The second drone dropped onto both knees and mimicked the first one's motions to push, half cursing, half praying beneath his breath. The body turned onto its side. Dice clinking in a gambler's palm, rolling across the lacquered table. The seizing continued. The helmet, the second heaved. "Taurus, he can't breathe." The first drone swore. Her hands fumbled with the shaking body. She pushed aside the fragile tubes of the helmet and slid her fingers beneath the ridge connecting jaw and skull. She squeezed until her knuckles went white. The helmet was a death trap for restrictions and nerve connections, perfectly designed to ensnare what would eventually bloom within it. Removal required high security authorization, expertise, and the equivalent of brain surgery. Against better judgment, the first drone pulled. The first drone's raw strength and fury was enough. The prison of the mind slowly gave way, like skin peeled from hot leather, like a scab ripped from the body. The helmet pulled free, and so too did the body's face follow. The merge had taken place weeks ago, unbeknownst to all parties except he beneath the mask. Approved stimulants dulled the growing pains. Rigorous conditioning dulled the weight. The implant in the base of his skull forced compliance, even if he never quite realized what was being said. The curve of his cheeks, the plump of his lips, the cartilage on his nose, the excess around the ridge of his forehead, the fat beneath his neck, whole once, now liquefied from the bone in threading strands within the empty space. It divided from its progenitor in clumps and bloody strings. It left behind a mockery of a human face, a mass of exposed and twitching muscle writhing like worms in the wake of its separation. It ate away at everything that was once a man and filled the gaps with itself. This art is freaky as hell. You can see like strings of flesh in the eye, in the jaw, what's left of it. The third drone stared at the remains, knuckles bloody. From how hard he had beaten on the bulkhead, he spoke first. "Shit, fuck, he's gone, why would you, fuck!" "The door," the second said, weak. His head shook with enough force to make his neck ache. His eyes were squeezed shut, unwilling, unable to stomach the sight of the body. His sentences escaped in short bursts, stabs of coherency between heaving. "Open the door. The emergency hatch. Cut the wires if you have to. Get us out of here. Leave the body before 99 out of 100 bodies will decompose like a rotten log in the woods. The 100th lingers." "There's no wires to cut, Johan," the third hissed. "I tried that, you fucking moron," he wanted to say. He bit back the bile and venom. We're stuck in here, and that thing is out because Taurus tried to." "He was dying," the first nearly wailing. The second half, "I was trying to save him," was left implied. "He's late stage, you fucking idiot. He's supposed to. He's the time bomb. It's over," the second drone said. "It's done. Stop yelling. Please, we need to get out of here. Focus." Took a sip. "What did you think?" The panic draws eyes from you, and draws you away from the distraction he tried convincing you to indulge in. You stumble backward. "What did you think was going to happen?" You stumble backwards. You should be doing something. Anything to help these people. But you can muster no courage. So you hide. You press yourself behind the maintenance cart to watch like a coward. But even that proves too much for you. Even the dignity of being known is too steep a request. What did you think was going to happen? You squeeze your eyes shut as if to will yourself away, but the blurred remains of Utah are less than 10 feet from you, as are the drones that have not yet realized what is coming, as is the drone that has. What did you think was going to happen? The lights flicker and strobe above you, an unknown number of overloaded circuits sting an electrical buzz until the energy crescendos. What'd you think was going to happen? And the bulbs pop like blackheads, the shards of coated glass scatter across the floor like fine sand. You know better than to open your eyes. It will not change anything. The room is dark and you are alone. No, try again. The puppet is strung. The body rises. How did they die? Do you want to know? How did they die? Is it worth knowing? Why did they die? Why would you ask that? You know why. Ow. Sorry. Pet population. There were 3. The drones. All drones are fodder, even if they pretend otherwise. Fodder will die. Fodder will not be missed. Fodder will not be remembered. When the bodies are gone, so too are their names, scrubbed from the files. They're scrubbed from the files. Their families will never be offered closure. Some will languish in rots, holding out hope their fodder will return. They will not. They no longer exist. There were 3. Then 2. A mile from the border of the station, out of sight from all responsible, is the graveyard. It holds no bodies and no names. There's no keeper, no visitors. It is 100 concrete slabs staked in the permafrost and forgotten the time. It is a number that will always tick up. Then 2. Then 1. It's a gift. The walls are still bloodied. Terrifying. I guess I'm a real idiot. Quote 000. In the dark, a pair of hands wrestle you into submission. One catches your wrists and pins both twiggy things to your chest. The other slots against your throat in warning. You are pulled against the warm body. You are pulled against the only other survivor. Not technically. You tell yourself Utah and half-hand and dimples are dead. You ignore the pained whimpers you cannot see the source of. The shift of fabric and something wet. The crack of ceramic and bone, of a broken body building itself again, forcing itself to stand, heavy, lurching, grabbing and tearing until they're dead, you repeat. They're dead? They're dead. They were dead the moment they entered this room. From the moment they arrived here, the hand squeezes your throat just enough to sting. You cannot bear to be proven wrong. You fight against his grip. It's instinct. It's habit. It's years of neurosis culminating in a cortisol-fueled fury, but the last drone is brasher than Fidel. Your spine aches from the force. He curses and threatens to gut you if you keep squirming. This does not deter you, and when you scream like a stuck pig, he moves a hand from your throat to your mouth to shut you up. When you force your teeth through the rubber of his glove, through the skin of his hand, he swears to God that he will do worse than kill you. The inside of your mouth tastes of rubber and salt and copper. He clings to you like a lifeline. Shut the fuck up. His voice is too loud, too close. He wrenches you back and you are forced to follow and continues sputtering to the darkness. Let me go. Let me go or I'll snap her neck. His attention turns to you. What'd you say? What the fuck did you tell it? Nothing. You said nothing. He would not believe you if you had the words to explain. You are nothing more than a favored captive, but he is too blinded by fear to spare reason. His body moves back, away from something. You cannot fathom what. Perhaps his vision extends further than yours. Perhaps he's more in tune with his other senses. Perhaps he knows, somehow, that a monster in the abyss draws near. You are dragged away by another step. Still fighting, still thrashing, all too easily overpowered. Stuck between 2 ways to die, completely cognizant that you will not. He needs you. You are all the worse for it. His back connects with the wall. His grip slackens. I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything. He screams. It is raw and throat-ruining. It bounces off the walls and makes your teeth ache. Something changing. Oh. He forgot the body no longer has say over the land. He forgot that once past the point of return, the body stops being an anchor and became just another overgrown structure. The land is free to do as it so pleased. He forgot the body was just for show. He screams. You tumble forward and catch yourself, hacking up snot and spit, choking down air and shuddering breath. The gloves keep you from skinning your palms to shreds, but do not spare you the pain, only replace the scalping sting with the burn of friction. He calls your name. That isn't your name. He's talking to you though, begging, pointing like a dog that needs to be put down for its own good. Help me, God, help me. You have to get me out of here. Get it out, get it out. Oh God, oh God. Violence met with violence. The Lesser caved at the first sign of resistance, reduced down to what he once was, weak and fearful and crying out for authority that would not save him. In the dark he was strung up as an example, living architecture punctured through his limbs, organs, arteries, bled him dry through a slow drip of his own fluid. He didn't deserve it. That's never stopped anything from happening, and it never will, because the world you're in is a system of intended cruelty. But it's why you try to save him, why you push back past your own fear and sick, and stand on your feet and push yourself through the dark, while your hands search until they feel the Teflon of Dijon's suit, while you gather as much of him in your hands as you can, and pull. He's screaming again, and pull. You're hurting him. This isn't right. And pull. Stop. Stop before. Something gives, and you lose your balance, and you fall back with him in your grasp. You don't realize until you feel his weight on you. The lack of weight, rather. If the room were brighter, if you were more present, if you weren't so fucking stubborn, you would see that only half of the third drone pulled free. He tries to speak before it ends, tries to gurgle a final prayer, but all that escapes is a strangled moan. You'd think he is sobbing. Then the moment passes, and he's gone for good. And you are left behind. 3, then 2, then 1, then none. The third drone died at the hands of noble intent. In the clouded judgment of desperation, he died thinking he was worth saving. It takes longer than it should for you to realize what happened. It takes even longer for you to accept it. You would say, there are more pressing matters to worry about. Metal shrieks against itself. Through is pulled taut, stretching until it snaps from the force of the bulkhead's opening. In the burning light, you see the bodies of your former team strewn across the floor. Their protective suits are ripped to shreds. Their fingers twitch like the dead limbs of an electrocuted animal. Their internals are on full display, wet and wriggling from a slow digestion. You'd not turn around because you know that's where Dijon is. You need a sip of water. What was Miller eclipses you. 6 feet and 2 inches of fused tendon and restructured bone, a face made of ripped skin and muscle, a body eaten alive and bloating, bursting at its seams. Oz Miller stares down at you with bloodshot eyes and a bleeding mouthful of crooked teeth. He can't speak. His vocal cords are too heavy to even scream. He advances towards you with unsteady steps, and you retreat until your back hits the wall. Another step. Closer. Too close. A hand outstretches. You are so tired of being touched. The crack of a gunshot. Oz Miller's throat explodes outward in a splay of bone, shard, and scattered tissue, and blood embeds itself into the paneling and concrete beside you. The world is deafened by your ears ringing. He is not dead. You know it's to be true before he slumps to the floor, face first. The damage severed his spinal column, robbed his body of the nerves connecting body and brain for now. But now he'll become then just as the sun will set. 5 minutes is all it takes. The carnage will sew itself right with a million threads, and what was Miller will rise like a ghoul from its grave, and you'll be there waiting. Because, follow your bark, you're just as helpless and even more afraid. Vasquez is smarter than you. He doesn't waste a second. 300 pounds of muscle and armor barrels into the room and hurls itself towards you like a bull let loose. His hands clamp on your shoulder before you have a chance to be shocked. He rips you to your feet, then over his shoulder. Vasquez takes off in a sprint. The world becomes a spinning mass of momentum and motion sickness. The square of pitch darkness leading you to the room you're trapped in is behind you, receding faster than you thought possible. You hear Vasquez swearing beneath his breath. You watch the floor drop from behind you both. You watch the walls close and crumple a foot from where you just were. You watch the living architecture, the stalagmites of calcium pulp lashing out in hopes of either impaling or caging. You don't want to find out which. You won't. The laws of Ayers forces even the most hostile of his halls into something traversable. And Vasquez does not stop running until you slam to the back of the elevator and its doors close completely. You wonder what happened to the bodies. What happened to the room? When you're both gone, and eyes is well and truly alone, you can say for certain what becomes of everything. It's better not to think about it. It's better that you are both here, too close to be comfortable, too panicked to be grateful, too covered in the filth of other humans to feel like one yourself. This isn't the first time you felt this way, is it? Vasquez does not set you down until the doors open on the surface. Waiter, you would be sat in your terrible room on the edge of your terrible bed, a shock blanket wrapped around your shoulders and the head doctor dabbing blood, not your blood, from your scalp with a damp tissue. You do not need this. You do not fucking need this. You do not need her soft hands patting and soft words reassuring. You do not need the tests that make you see specters and the music that reminds you of everything you will never have again. You need to scrub this day off with scalding water and a rough rag. You need to sleep for weeks, months, years. You need to forget. Instead, you stare at the growing pile of red towelettes and wait for the head doctor to leave. You cannot forget. Sleep is a fickle thing, and water restrictions in the station dictate the next time you're allowed to shower is in 10 hours. No exceptions. All the apologies in the world from the head doctor curdle on your tongue, and a white foam saliva beneath it. It is in that moment you realize she does not care for you in any way that will save you. You are an obligation born of guilt and fostered by a role of importance you were never meant to have. You're a pet project she refuses to let die. The head doctor will offer you every comfort she can to you, and you will suffer all the more for it. She'll hold you down as you struggle. She'll care for your failing body. She'll loosen the collar from your neck, but her hands will never remove it. This is not a kindness. This is a death sentence in slow motion. She should have killed you when she was supposed to. She should have killed you. Aw, it's a disconcerting image. The head doctor is gone before your thoughts can solidify into action. She leaves behind a shadow. She leaves behind your savior. She tells the blood bag to keep an eye on her. Please, just for the night, make sure she doesn't hurt herself until she falls asleep. In a low voice, a voice you were not supposed to hear, the blood bag protests, negotiates the time down to half an hour. He says he does not want to upset you. You think you're well beyond that point, and that you are secondary to his own disgust. You think, after everything, he earned it. But she agreed, and so he stands in the corner and lets the minutes tick by. You do not move from your position on the bed, even as the lights turn off in a soft command for you to sleep. The blood dries and mats in your hair. You feel hands on your throat. You try forcing yourself to be anywhere but here. The day's events replay with such detail that you worry you are hallucinating again. The hour passes. The beast in black armor shifts, moving for the door, and panic surges. You cannot be alone again. You are scared to be alone again. You are certain that the moment he leaves, the room will lose its shape and swallow you whole, and you will be dragged 1,000 feet into the earth, never to be seen again. You can feel your nausea rising. Wait, you spill out. Your wheeze brings him to a halt. The blood bag's mask just barely angles towards you, a movement noticed only because you watch with the same paranoia as a rabbit watches a wolf. Stay. It is a command spoken like a plea. It is beneath you, or beneath where you should be. It is a mockery of every horrible thing you experience at their hands. If you continue spilling your guts in tears, your voice would crack with the first frost in your steel-toed boot. You do not. He understands, though, and his hand drops from his doorknob, and he returns to his post. She stands beside the monster you beg not to leave. Locks obscuring your bloody face, eyes burning into you in spite of this. Voice is low and you hate how much it sounds like your own. She says, You missed your chance. I told you so. If Angel notices you're staring, he does not comment. He sits as far away as reality allows and pretends to be anywhere else. You are too afraid to sleep. End movement 1. Interlude 1. It's all red now. Begin. How far are we? Oh, this is the last this is the last bit, huh? No, it's too soon. There is screaming. At this level, screaming is a constant. So deposits are all the same. Haul down an underperforming drone, load in a processing room, seal the door, and listen to it eat. The bulkhead's muffled sound, with how close they're required to stand, some of the spectacle has to slip through. On the good days, you make conversation. Makes the noise they ignore, and your company isn't the worst. You're alone now, though. Bad day. You stand in a small square hallway that stretches further than your vision carries. The lights only work in a 10-foot radius around you. The walls are damped, cracked concrete that shifts if you stare too long. And the smell of mold and old metal never quite settles on your nose. There's a buzzing behind your eye from the depth you're at. You've always been predisposed to migraines. In points like this, there isn't much to do beyond toughing it out. It's warm below the surface. Too warm. You're the only one who seems to notice. They shouldn't be screaming. You gonna... Is it gonna... Okay, there we go. There shouldn't be screaming. There shouldn't. Something in your head clicks after 30 seconds of distant commotion. This isn't a solo deposit. There shouldn't be screaming. This is maintenance work. Real maintenance work. Not the shit that dress up in fantasy language to make murder sound reasonable. This is 3 well-trained drones that picks up whatever's going on, and 2 ARs that keep structural integrity inside and out. This is a mission you can't afford to fuck up. Manned by 5 professionals. Oh, this is what happened on the outside of the murder spree we just witnessed. And them. None. Fuck, they're a creepy little thing. Dead-eyed, pale, dragging their feet like a corpse that are in the walk. Maybe they are. That still doesn't explain their survival. It's never been a picky eater. A body's a body. You stopped counting how many times it spat them back out after their 4th visit. You stopped caring after their 2nd. No, it's not right. You're a good person. You have a good head on your shoulders. You have family and life outside of all this. You're better than this. You're better than it. You aren't sure why upper management asked you to bring them along this time. They can't do anything. They were never formally trained in the way workers are meant to be. All they can do is stand around and act as a reminder. They shouldn't be screaming. There it is, though. You wonder if the months-long water in the pot is finally boiling over. There shouldn't be screaming. You wonder if you'll open the door and find the stack of skin and bones ripped apart. There shouldn't be screaming. Do something. That's right. You need to act. That's why you're here. The hearing connects with the control panel wired into every door beneath the surface. The connector breaks the fabric on your palm, embedding deep into your skin, flooding your veins with fire. Your bodily functions kick into overdrive. Muscle connects to muscle. Synapses form in fire. You flex and twitch through no effort of your own. If not for your other hand resting on the wall and bearing all your weight, you would be face first on the floor, writhing. Your breathing comes fast. A fist forms in your chest. Focus. Beneath your skin, you can feel your restructured organs begin to squirm. Worms and compost, the boys like to say. Dots swim beneath your vision. The buzzing behind your eyes builds up until you're certain at least one is going to pop. The blood vessels certainly do. Watery red leaks from your nose, tear ducts, mouth, ears, where your helmet blocks any chance of wiping yourself clean. Another convulsion. Your coughs are rib cracking and rough. Your connection to the world waxes and wanes. You grit your teeth with enough force that the enamel cracks and scabs over in a split second. You think you aren't going to survive this. You think this every time. It will pass. Focus. Your heart rate synchronizes with that of the station. A building-wide neural network of cables and nerve endings, shotguns into your nervous system, raw as your body struggles not to unravel from its impact. The feedback is the worst part. The human mind wasn't built to process this much information at once. It takes months of condition to get to this point, and you've still seen some of the toughest bastards overload and fry their brains black. They spend a week in a padded cell, still hooked up, and their minds pulled back until their minds pull back into their bodies. If you're lucky, most things come back. If not, I can see you. You're not supposed to. Dark, you're innocent. You thought it was. You're better than them, though. Better than all of them. You stay afloat in the sea memories, minds, and observations, and you make the sliver of the station yours. Open the door. Oh, this isn't. Oh, there's more up here. Open the door. When you wake, you have a splitting headache and a crick in your neck. You lay in darkness of your own making, face first on the rough concrete floor. Who am I? You're Gabriel Angelo Vasquez. Angela of your family. Gabe to everyone else. You have two uncles named Gabriel and a cousin named Gabriella. Though in so many ways one can mingle a name. At 18 you enlisted. College was never an option. You didn't have the brain for learning. Working was not an option. You had to drive the slave away for the rest of your life. So you ship yourself off at the behest of your parents because they said it would teach you the discipline they had failed to. You suppose they were right. It's an alright gig. Your bed and board is free, and luxuries on the station are cheap compared to everywhere else in the world. Couple that with the pay, more than a year than you've ever seen, you really could make something for yourself here. Where am I? Within 1 of 7 high-priority research facilities, you do a short stick and end up a million miles away from home, in a frozen-over wasteland that spends half the year in pitch black. Currently, you're strewn about in the floor of your barracks like a frat boy after a weekend bender. You're sitting pretty at the halfway point between the waking world and death. Move, damn you. Terrible choice. Every souped-up muscle in your body protests the idea of motion. Like an ungreased wheel, your dehydration makes even the most basic shift in Olympic feat. You cannot move, you decide. You will waste away and die here. They can scrape your remains off the floor like they do the other unfortunates. Look around. Your eyes are too blurry to properly focus, but even blind, you are well acquainted with this room. 12 beds jammed in a small concrete room smelling of mildew. Well lit, claustrophobic, damp. The vents are caked in dust because nobody wants to clean. No windows. You're 10 feet underground. How would there be windows? But there's an LED clock in the corner. The clock in the corner. You're late. You, by an hour. I'm 3 hours off. Did you forget? It's been like that since before you got here. Good thing you're too shabby in math, eh? So, how bad are you looking? 4 hours past waking up. Yuck, which means 4 infraction tallies. But Okay. In grieving, they have to be lenient. Oh, it's a choice, huh? Please, you aren't related. You barely even know the guy. In the grand scheme of things, you have real friends back home. You have a family. Probably a girlfriend, too, with how much of a looker you are. Besides, you should have prepared for this. This charge is a month away. Get over yourself. Get up. Your face peels from the floor like sweaty skin and warm leather. You rise, doing your utmost to ignore the pins and needles in your limbs. When the world loses the viscosity, you put a hand on your knee and force yourself to stand. You need real food, you think. Water, too. Something that isn't pre-processed vitamins, slop, and malted grains. You're missing something. Remember. It's about your body. Your body and what you must do to earn it. Your right arm. You're doing a great medical service, you know. You're making your family, your country proud. I'm sorry that it hurts so much. You're too far along, unfortunately. Anastasia won't have any effect, and no vaccine shots only do so much. Struggle if that makes you feel better. The restraints are there for a reason. It'll be over soon. You are in good hands. Kill me. Please, kill me. You don't say that. Every 2 weeks you submit to being carved apart in the name of science. You take it like you were made to be beneath the knife. You bite the fat of your cheek until it tears off. You turn a collection of flexed muscles and ignored pain receptors. For that reason, you are a favorite among the surgeons. For that reason, you skipped your appointment. Now without pushback, your own body betrays you. Even just the daylight, you can feel the effects of a mixed segmentation creeping up like a tangle of weeds. Your right arm used to be severed as a shoulder and manually regrown, pulls against itself like a taut rope. The joints and tendons are unstable. Over the next few days, they will dissolve, mingle, and reharden to a mobile fusion of muscle and bone. Before that, you'll lose your fine motor skills. Your body packs a modest layer of fat. It used to be layers, but the combination of treatments in your new diet robbed you of your padding. If you press 2 fingers into your abdomen, you can feel a collection of large lumps slowly descending outwards, your organs. Leave them alone for too long and the pressure will cause a rupture. Contamination from your split intestines will spill into the rest of your innards, but the sepsis you'll suffer still isn't enough to take something like you out. The body's a machine, and yours is unstable, perpetually failing one. You need to fix this before it ruins you prematurely. You need to see her. Leave the room. You know where to go. You stumble through the station's hallways in a stupor, reeking and dazed from exhaustion and a failed bender. Your fellow soldiers largely ignore your unarmored form, and the doctors are too afraid to lay hands on you. You are a walking biohazard. A Teflon-lined underclothes you're required to wear could very well not be enough to keep you safe for contact. So they scold you for your sloppy appearance, and you ignore them because you don't give a shit right now. Let them write you up or report you for non-compliance. A reset sounds lovely right now. In 10 minutes, you arrive at your destination. The office of Dr. Rhodes is your opposite. Sterile, white, and well kept. The lights are pleasantly dim, and the smell of stale cigarette smoke is masked by chemicals and citrus. A few garishly printed posters litter the wall. One depicts the forest and mountain range, the other a picturesque beach, another a city skyline at dusk. The time has turned them faded. Her desk sits in the middle of everything, coated in a fine layer of dust and layered with stacks of unfinished paperwork. Shockingly, she's in office, typing away at an outdated desktop that replaced the previous, almost modern computer a few months ago. Something about a local network. Every time you see the doctor, she's either fighting for it to work or complaining that it exists. It appears she's reached a happy medium. The doctor does not stop typing, but has the grace to give you a flicker of eye contact. She does not look surprised or particularly happy to see you. You overslept? It's a statement of fact phrased as a question. You nod. It's fine. Everything's in disarray. Sit down. I'll be done in a minute. Wait. 1 minute turns to 5. The doctor looks a world better than you. Her skin is smooth and practically glowing. He uses lotion in a place like this. Then her clothes. A light blouse beneath the uniform standard coat all doctors are expected to wear. Are impeccably neat. Her hair has been twisted into knots, then pulled back into a neat bun. A pair of expensive-looking earrings glint in the light. You wonder why she brought them to a place like this. Wait. 5 minutes turn to 10. Her hands are small and soft and perfectly manicured. The noise of typing reminds you of rain drumming against a sheet metal roof. Wait. Finally, a look of satisfaction washes over a doctor's face. Only then does she offer you a full and undivided attention, upon which her face fizzles into something grim. How are you? Bad. I'm alive. That's more than some can say. Status? People like you don't open up. It's a habit reinforced by a lifetime of social conditioning, of being trained to shut the hell up and just take it as is. She's seen this 100 times before, and for that reason she won't bother trying to break down those walls. You're only here for a year or 3. There just isn't enough time. She turns to the physical. Stating what's wrong with your body is just stating medical facts, right? Take this chance to express yourself. Sometimes the world doesn't feel real. Cognitive functions remain largely unimpaired. Sometimes I feel so guilty I want to shoot myself. No issues with movement, there's occasional soreness depending on how I sleep, but that's normal. It gets worse before it gets better, right? No blockage, the new diet is working. I want to go home. Am I forgetting anything? Did you go to your segmentation? Yes, you lie. Then no. Goddamn idiot. How are you doing? That seems like the correct question to ask. Your tone is flat and you do not care for the answer, but Dr. Rhodes appreciates the gesture. A weak smile pulls on her face. Oh, I'm alive. Alive and busy. Speaking of which, you have a new assignment. She pauses, gauging your reaction. You can get defensive or dismissive, questioning why she is giving orders and not your acting supervisor. But your mind excels at justifying disparities. Everyone, everything is spread painfully thin. Who cares? Gesture for her to go on? I'm assigning you guard duty probably for fodder. No. That was your gut reaction. I didn't sign up for this. I don't want to be anywhere near that basket case. I don't want to risk dying like... No. I didn't sell my body to watch your shitty little pet project. I don't care how bad you feel. Think about how I feel. Think about how it feels to look at them and remember. Find someone else. Find anyone else. Put me back on patrols, cleaning, whatever. Not this. For how long? A few weeks? The doctor's tone less confidence. She thumbs through a stack of documents instead of looking you in the eye. Until everything settles down, we're comfortable enough to resume testing. And the duties include bringing meals, taking her to the showers in the morning, escorting between facilities and evals if it comes to it, but given the state of the station, it probably won't. What about talking? You're a glorified security guard, not a therapist. If you do your job correctly, you won't be around here long enough to hold a conversation. Why me? The doctor stares at you expectantly, as if you should be able to intuit the reason. When you make no indication, she says pointedly, "You're very hinged." Not in, you're opposite of unhinged. Hinged. Which is a kind of way of saying, the fact that you've gone this far without hurting yourself or somebody else is a feat noble enough to be written in your file. Show off. And she likes you. Or tolerates you. You can never tell with that one, but the security footage speaks for itself. As now it's not ideal or easy, especially after... She won't say what happened because that makes it real. Instead, her face creases and your tempers rise. I didn't come here to play babysitter, especially not for the fuck up that got him killed. That wasn't her fault. I'm not talking about her. The doctor does not reply. You and yours don't fucking care about the consequences. Every new issue was handled the same way, throwing bodies in the grinder until it stops being stuck. And I get it, cons are cons, nobody cares if 10 or 100 or 1,000 go missing. It's a drop in the bucket. But what about us? The people who signed our lives away to serve your piece of shit station. People that put up with being pumped full of it, with having their limbs hacked off because they grew in wrong, with the surgeries and medical testing, with the insomnia and the body pain and the I can't eat real fucking food. Where the fuck is our respect? Where is the concern? Where is he? You don't say any of that. You would never say that. You're a good dog who respects his muzzle and drowns his worst thoughts in their infancy before they become a problem. You think your silence is mature. You think your suffering is noble. Your temper rises. Your tempers rise, and you bite your tongue. Stare at her. Stare at her. Hope she can feel your contempt. Dr. Rhodes, I'm sorry. Shouldn't have happened, and I'm sorry. We didn't know what we were getting into. Have to make an apology and a flimsy excuse. Shot and chaser. Why didn't you do anything? I'm in an entirely different department, but you're close to him. I'm not. You're closer than any of us. You don't see the whole picture. That's the problem. Tell me this isn't going to happen again. That's why I need your help. To watch a drone. To watch the one person that's averse to killing. We're working on it, okay? But I can't promise anything. I can't speak for anyone. You grind your teeth together. The doctor's face twists. Why do you give a shit? The doctor's unreal response is a quiet, she's young. And a stare like she thinks you'll understand. And maybe you do. Sympathy is easy if you're small and pretty and frail enough to be knocked over by a stiff breeze. Sympathy is fuel for a bleeding heart. Which means denying the fodder their purpose over and over again because you think you're being merciful. But it's not stupid. It picks up on the inconsistencies. It sees the disparity between projection and reality. The hand-picked anomaly trying to sneak by unnoticed. You set off a chain reaction, doctor. You don't say that. She's already figured it out. No need to rub salt into the wound. You're too soft. I know. It's hard. I won't pretend otherwise. It's hard and the wound is still fresh, and this isn't fair to ask of you. But you are. But I am. Because I need somebody like you to help. And all I'm asking is for you to not make me regret it. Be better than the Doctor opts against bad-mouthing the dead. She flushes her thought with a reassuring, "It's temporary. You'll get paid." As if that makes it okay. The funny thing is, she's not wrong. It's all temporary. In 6-7 months, you'll be out of here. Your systems will be flushed with the foreign body invading it. If you get a fat chunk of change by the government you hoard yourself to, and you'll spend the rest of your life trying to forget about this one chapter. You'll wake up each night aching, your body never quite rebalancing after spending a year in a slow-boiling calamity. In 10-15 years, you'll probably get cancer or something. The long-term effects won't rear their nasty heads. But you'll live. Everything passes one way or another. So just get through it. No, I need to stop this. That isn't you. The protest's on your tongue and the taste is familiar. I can't do this. You can, you will. Later, you'll scream into your shitty pillow and imagine all the ways you could have saved yourself the grief. And then next time you get a chance to really shake things up, you'll do the same thing you did today. I mean, seriously, Gabe. You never learn. The doctor smiles, all teeth and good intentions. She's waiting for your reply. When do I start? End Interlude 1. Nothing ever dies as it should. It lingers like an afterimage burned to a failing monitor. Forever present, near unrecognizable. Details muddied, the space around informs what once was. There is still time. Wake up. You're glaring at me, even through that ugly mask. I know the only thing you're throwing my way is disgust. Pity if I'm lucky. But if I were lucky, I wouldn't be here, would I? Wouldn't be pumped full of chemicals and living acid, wouldn't be slow boiling alive in my own skin, wouldn't be stuck in a moving body to tune to something I didn't know existed before I agreed to any of this. If I were lucky, there'd be someone waiting for me back home. Hey, Angela, I'm not so lucky. You left me alone for an hour and I turned into a monster. A trio is dead. Did I do that? I've always been violent, sure, but not like this. The rush of power is nice. I don't want to actually kill anyone. I would have deployed anywhere but here if I were that much of a psycho. But I did. Or something did. Ooh. 2 died in the first minute. Humans are sturdy, but they're nothing compared to what we're turning into. I put a hand through Miriam's stomach and used her ribs to handle the prior part. Pulled apart Johanna's jaw I was tearing a piece of paper into. Thank consolation. They died fast. I hope they died fast. The kid is here too. I know because they get grabbed and start screaming. I didn't know they could make noise. I've never even heard them cry. Well, they're making noise now, and from the way my neck jerks, I can tell it's pissed. Maybe that's why it killed Dijon, not me. Not that there's much of a difference anymore. The door opened. You stood behind me. I'll get back in the driver's seat long enough to turn around and give you one last look. Maybe I hoped you'd recognize me, or call out. Fuck. I don't know. If anyone can fix this, it's you. Which, in a way, I guess you did fix things. You pulled the trigger. I stopped being me. And that's it. That's the end of Interlude 1. And those are Utah's last words. This is really good. I really like the writing for this. Like, oh, I'm reeling. Oh, it was generally like, oh, really good. I like it personally. Okay. I guess we're done with Link Rot. At least, you know, for for the moment of right now. Alright, let's go to talking, and I can give maybe some thoughts on it before we end. Good 2 hours though. So that was about like 4 hours of reading. Oh, it's pretty good, and it's like nice and nice part. It's like nice and like interactive. Let's go back over here. Dun dun dun. There I am. That was really good. I love so far. I'm like I'm fascinating with fodder. I want to know what's going on in her brain. I need to open her up. Cause she has issues. Everyone has issues. I think they're like pushed in like a horrific like position. A lot of desperate people, and maybe not desperate, just more curious people in here too. But it's fascinating because like, despite the worst of it, it's like it's hard to like be like, to get how do I word this? Like this, even through the worst of it, it's like I'm fascinated with where things are gonna go in the future and what we're gonna see happen. I don't know, man. I'm like digging my like claws in to see what happens next. Let's see though. If there's any more updates, I'd love to read them like before like I read something else maybe. Which there will be updates, I'm pretty sure, but you know, tee hee hee. Just saying. But yeah, I'm really curious to see like where like things go in the future and what happens to, cause we got Angel, we got more insight into like his whole deal, and after that like horrible ass shit happening, I guess we'll have to see what ends up happening to other characters in the future. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. You know, I'm excited. I'm just like, I really like the imagery of the writing too, because it's very like, how do I describe this? It's very visceral. Like it's not like it's like I say this in the nicest way possible. It's very icky. I like it. It's a good kind of ickiness, where it feels like it just like settles into your skin. And it's like I live here now. And it's like you do, and it's like yeah, I do. Hope you enjoy your new existence now. And it's like, ah, shit. I guess I'm stuck here. But yeah, God, I really liked. I really liked it overall, and I'll be happy to read more of it when more of it is released. But for now, I am going to go. I'm gonna find somebody to raid to bother to be a little menace towards. Let's see. You know what? In the theme of horror, why don't we bother someone who's doing a horror game? This person looks cool. I like their design. I think I've heard of this game, but we'll see. Okay, goodbye everybody. Have a wonderful day, and I'll be back later this weekend for some good ol' of the devil. Goodbye, goodbye. I'm going to go rest and see what this person's up to. Ah!